speakers are working? Everybody's coming in loud and clear? To start a whole new live?
I think so. No, it didn't. It just looks like it started the same live, I think. And you're back, she says. Yay.
Somebody posted on here they were from the Bitterroot Valley in Montana. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
Welcome to our live.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. This is what happens when you're working on stuff. We're
Mess it up.
trying to get more professional, but my kids always call us that boomer age, which I'm like, what? That's not, be nice. Okay, here we are. We're back. Sorry about that.
I see and hear you. Excellent.
Good deal. All right. Perfect. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I don't know if it'll splice that first part of the live back into that.
Hello,
but
Katie.
Yeah, we just wanted to make that distinction on some of those, and then maybe answer some of your guys' questions. You sound way better. Yeah, unfortunately, we were using the computer microphone, not these microphones, so it just looked like we were trying to be professional on here. Okay, let's see. I want to put this up on the stream. It's just a very complicated culture, and not everyone has the same experience in it. People tend to speak from their own experience as truth when it's both and I agree with that. Yeah, it's a little bit. It is kind of frustrating sometimes when I read some comments with people, just because
Australia.
Just because it is so hard. It's so hard to understand. And again, we've even said the AUB makes up the rules as they go along, and so it can get a little tricky. And one thing can be true in one moment for one person, and then it can be completely different in a different moment for another person, because it depends on who you are and your last name.
Well, and I was kind of trying to explain too. It was interesting. We were doing a conversation with.
I guess we're Gen X, not boomers. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
The Jeffs, what's his name?
Jaden
Jeffs, where they had one or maybe two leader, but the leader, the prophet, was the head person. I was asking him, does he have a 12 apostle group? The AUB had one leader, the prophet. When I was growing up in it, it was Owen Allred. But they also had 12 apostles. And so a lot of times Owen would say something and would preach something, and yet another apostle might say something slightly different. Or he would be teaching his family and people that were following him a different version of that. So Owen was basically saying that a wife, the love of a wife, is what holds
what seals the marriage.
What seals the marriage. Where other men within the AUB were like, no, that's not the whole truth. So
yeah.
So you were actually you could be taught from hear something different from two different pulpits. A lot of times they had a council member who was supposed to keep everybody online, but I don't think all the council members agreed completely.
They didn't.
That's why when Owen died, he hopscotched over a few of them that he didn't probably agree with, or they didn't agree with him fully.
Right. So. I know. I don't think we're boomers either. Our kids just say that to us. And so it just because they know it annoys us. When we went to Disneyland last week, our oldest was like, can you two hang out? Because we can get you guys like automatic scooters if you guys need us to. And we're like, shut up. No, we're not going to do that.
He was just hitting us in our...
Yeah, he was like, let's hit them in their pride. I want to answer this question, though. He says, I have a question about something else. Watch the first episode on Sound of Gravel, and you keep saying you're harder on the women for keeping to having children, but you don't sound like you have a lot of anger. Well, I've worked through a lot of that. I feel like there's again, this is why we encourage healing work, because I don't want to hold on to a lot of that anger. And honestly, like I want to be careful too, because, my mom is sensitive about this kind of stuff. And we were talking about that this morning. Because I'm just like, we were angry as children. It's like, why do you keep having children when you can't afford the children that you have? And then the common phrase, like, here's Corey and I, again, 2 kids raised in the same religion, and yet totally compound kid, city kid, lived with all the mothers, didn't live with the mothers. And yet we were said the same thing. Which child would you like us to give back?
Yep. Same conversation happened in almost every one of the families.
Yeah.
I would say, which
I'm like,
kid
I
do you
can,
wanna-
I can name a few I'd send back.
I offered myself up as tribute. Yeah, send me back
Yeah.
so I can come into just, I don't know, a smaller family.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I'll leave. I'll go find somebody, a rich dad or something.
Yeah.
So,
So really, it's just, when you can take away some of the emotion of what it is that you're talking, like a trauma that you've had, when you know that you don't have that emotion necessarily tied to it, is when you know that you're starting to heal. So you're not going to probably hear a ton of anger from me about this. It depends. It depends on what we're talking about. There are times, honestly, like I've sworn at the TV watching Sister Wives because I'm currently going through some of those situations with my parents. And I went through it with my ex-husband, and I haven't fully healed some of that trauma. But when you've healed some of the trauma, there's not always the emotion tied to it when you're talking about it. Yeah. And so that's, oh, thank you. Somebody says, as a social worker, you can see the healing work that you've done. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, because there's so much to heal, and so many different layers. I feel like,
well, and I don't want to diminish. I don't want to be so angry about it and diminish, because I have family still in it. I have family who have large families still in it. And if I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous, I don't know. I don't want ever my nieces or nephews to go, oh my gosh, he's frustrated with us because why, there's too many of us or anything like that. No, I appreciate and love. I just made a different choice. A lot of my brothers and sisters that left made different choices. They chose not to have huge families. They chose to have families that they felt like they could support. I calculated it in my head. I knew at what age
how old will I be when my baby is
18?
And not that we advocate that you're not parents after your children turn 18.
Yeah.
You absolutely are.
It's just I don't have to change
When will they
diapers.
graduate high school is what we're looking at.
Yeah, I don't have to change diapers. I can go out and travel and do stuff on my own again.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, love my parents, love everything, but wait a minute, you're doing so good. You've got 5 kids now. You guys should have a couple more. You're doing so good at it. And it's like, no, thank you. I know my kids' names. I like hanging out with them, and there's not so many that I get so irritated.
Yeah.
So.
And honestly, and I appreciate this. It's hard to be honest and offer grace when you're angry. To Corey's point, we love our families and want to respect their choices.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what it is. I don't want to, but I won't lie, off camera, there's a lot of things that Corey and I will talk about that I'm just like, this is so frustrating. It is one of those things where, and this is another reason why I will never tell my kids, when are you starting to have babies? I will let them make their own choices on that, because it can also, man, he did get called out a lot because Corey only has 2 biological children. And when I say only, that still felt like a lot, because our last one is on the spectrum, and he was challenging for sure. And there was a lot, he just required, I felt like, a lot more attention than some of the other kids. And we wanted to be able to give that attention to him and parent him in the way that he needed to be parented. And we couldn't have done that had we have had a dozen more kids afterwards. So, so we have really kept, we've really tried to keep that. We kept our kids to a minimum. We did have a miscarriage after him. And that was a surprise pregnancy that we did not have planned. And I had a ton of healing that I had to do over that. And that was, we were talking about that this morning, and that child wouldn't have been, they would have been Irish twins where they were not even a year apart. That's how close they were. And so, yeah, so we talk about that. So I love this. Forgiveness isn't for the people who have wronged you. It's for you to heal. And forgiveness doesn't mean to forget. You don't have to forget so that you don't have to forget. So you forget so you don't let it happen again. You forgive so you don't let it happen again. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But our last baby was a medical baby, and he actually bankrupted us because of his medical expenses when he was first born. And so we knew at that point that he was going to be our last one, because we had 4 other children to be aware of. So let's see, I wanted to see this one. So are you willing to adopt 30-year-old kid? That's funny.
Yeah, adopt a 30-year-old kid. This should be
I come with a
give
1-year-old,
advice.
she says. It's funny.
Okay.
We do a lot. We have a lot of kids that come in and out of our home, a lot. We fostered, or not fostered, but we've done foreign exchange students. We have had, we have 6 bedrooms in our home. And so we've had extra bedrooms for some kids. And right now we have 2 that live with us that are not our own. But we claim them as our own. We love it when we have, our house has always kind of been the family gathering place, since we are both the oldest of our families. Yay, welcome back. Somebody says, finally found my way back. Yeah. Is bankruptcy common? She says, I don't know. For us, it was because of a medical situation. And so we did that because our youngest, was a pretty strong, like he almost died, and there was just a lot of medical debt around that we could never seem to get out of. So it took us 3 years, and that, I would say, that led to when we got divorced too. I think that was a huge part of it, because it was one of the most humbling, hardest things either one of us have ever gone through. It was like the last thing that we wanted to do, but we could never climb out from underneath that. There was just no way we could have. So yeah, it's definitely, I don't know that it happens, but yeah, like Rosa says, I don't think bankruptcy is more common than in regular society. I don't think so either. Oh, I never thought we would ever go bankrupt.
We were regular society.
We were a middle class family at that point. 1 wife, 4 kids, and then the 5th one comes along and decides to shake up life. Let's see. Is that even an AU discussion when you're in the AUB, or is it just something that happens pregnancy after pregnancy and you deal with it? That was my very first unplanned pregnancy. I'd been very judgmental about women who just magically end up pregnant. I was like, come on, fix that, and it had never happened to me before. And then that happened, and I had a lot of humble pie after that, for sure. Go ahead.
Well, just one of the teachings is that they pull, I think, right out of the Bible, to multiply and replenish the earth. And they mean that they will do it, and do it continually. And so as long as you're not supposed to use contraceptives, and so if you can get pregnant, then it's a blessing from God. So
and that we were not practicing not using birth control. Well, we weren't. I wasn't using birth control. I mean, I just barely had a baby, and he was medical, and I was so attentive to that, I wasn't paying attention, and there we go. And so, but no, it's not. Your little sister, this is funny. I've only stayed with Mel and Corey once, and our 11-year-old still talks about that trip to this day. That's because they have so much fun when they come to our house. But be prepared for your kids to be gambling addicts. We do like to play poker. I won't even lie.
Dice is what Uncle Clinton always plays with them too.
Yeah.
So
Yep. No, we definitely we like to play cards around our house. We're definitely a gaming family. We used to gamble a lot. We used to go to Vegas and stuff, but we have not. When we had our medical baby, we stopped doing everything. We have not done anything like that in the last. Well, he's going to be 19 in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Well, you had never drank or got drunk until you met me,
Yeah.
and I had never gambled until I met you.
Are you serious? Oh, I made you a gambling addict. You made me an alcoholic.
Yep.
Aren't
So
we a
two
pair?
of the sins from that we were told to stay away from. So
Oh gosh.
she was a gambler. I was. I could hold a glass of liquor at the time. So
Yeah. Oh, I want to pop this one up here. I agree with this. As an intentionally child-free person, I never understand why people think that other people's reproductive choices are up for debate, especially if you're not the one financially responsible. And I agree. And that's why we knew after we had our last one, because of the overwhelming amount of medical debt that we had, we were not going to have any more children. We had decided that. So then when I accidentally ended up pregnant, there was some shame about that because we were like, what are we doing? You know, and we had to we came up against some pretty big walls with that one. A lot of healing had to go around that. And because we felt irresponsible with that too. And both of us being the oldest, we've been taught from birth to be ultra responsible. And then here we went into this situation and didn't know, and we didn't recover from that as well as we thought we did. Oh, let's see. I wanted to get to this question too on my phone. I've been saving all your guys' questions and wanting to make a video on them. Oops, come on. Do you have anything you're seeing? Okay. Okay, so this question comes in. It just says, I still struggled with the idea that there was no exit plan when Janelle left twice previously, and I believe for a year or more. So there's definitely was one wife that knew there was an exit plan. She came back twice, but she was free to go. So the other wives had to know that they could exit as well. Maybe I just need more education on this. Again, I feel like this kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like with Cody. I don't believe he went to the council for release. That's kind of what this is too. Just because Janelle left doesn't mean that she was getting divorced. Yep. You can separate from your partner, and people do it all the time, and they'll leave for 10 years, whatever it is, but they're not released, so they never go into another relationship.
Yeah. It's and I don't know the whole story on it or anything like that, but sometimes somebody will be like, they feel like they are working diligently for the family, and the resources may not be being divided up equally. Mm-hmm. And since they are a worker, which Janelle was, she would go use her resources to build up her family, create a home for herself and her mm-hmm. family, didn't want to live in a trailer or little house with another wife, and she had the ability and means to go out and create something different. And mm-hmm. so it's not necessarily that she was leaving the marriage, but she was leaving the situation that they were in to try to give maybe a wake-up call to Cody and to Mary that, hey, something has got to change, and if I'm going to go out and change it on my own, I will do that. And so, yes, she might not invite Cody over for a little while, but again, as long as she's just out working to take care of the kids that they've had and to build up and Cody would be considering it building up his kingdom if she's got a house and something somewhere else.
Well, and I'm always curious how so many people handle this differently. If a wife leaves a husband, her paycheck can still go to that husband. If she leaves, he's like, yeah, you don't get to take get to take your check with you. And so in some families, I know that has happened where the husband will come back to the wife while they're separated. I mean,
It's the only
you know,
the-
not, I hate to always use my parents as an example, but hell, my mom's left my dad 100 times. I mean, you know, she would leave for 6 months at a time or 3 months at a time or 1 month at whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was just like, I need to get myself out of this situation. This is overwhelming. It's too much. And then I remember telling me a story that she did leave once and my dad came to her for her paycheck. And so that happens too. So I'm always curious. Like, it just depends on the family
the
dynamics.
situation, yeah.
Yeah.
And so did they leave the marriage and go and or get another husband? Yes, then that would be a full leaving. But a lot of these, in fact, we're reading a book where
Yeah. The sound
she
of gravel
leaves, and I'm assuming
comes back.
because comes back. That's how this is, because spiritually you're still, if you still believe in the teachings that they're teaching you, then you may leave to get the attention of the man or have the man correct the errors of his ways. Wait a minute, we're not living in a trailer together for
Yeah.
any more time.
And sometimes the man never wants to get his shit together. He
Yeah.
just is like, he just keeps treating her poorly, and so the only way to get a wake up call is to say, I'm out. But that doesn't mean they're getting divorced. She doesn't have the option to go into another relationship.
There you go.
And so that's the biggest thing.
And
is
if she does, she will be damned.
if she does, yeah. And I appreciate this comment. Knowing the option of divorce is allowed compared to the threat of hell and shame from your family are two different things. I was raised that divorce was next to murder. That's exactly how it is in the AUB. You do not get divorced. You don't do anything like that because, again, no exit plan. You're with this family for eternity, but that doesn't mean you have to suffer every day for the rest of your mortal life. You can still pack up your children and leave, which my mom did. My mom did dozens of times in my lifetime. Let's see. Yeah, I agree with this. Bankruptcy over medical costs in the USA is a problem. I absolutely agree. Canadian here with a heart baby and a medical costs are not a thing in the most of the world. Yeah, it is really that. I don't even know what the final bill was on him, but he had a liver or he was going to have a liver transplant and blood transplants, and his liver had completely failed, and it was hard. It was really hard. And so that was a challenging time for us, and which, you know, then led into more difficulty with him as a toddler. He was really a very emotionally charged toddler, which and now, I mean, he's the sweetest boy ever now, and he's bright as a whip. But man, when he was a little kid, he was. I didn't think that we were ever going to sleep in the same bed again. He slept with us pretty consistently till he was almost 10. Well, I would say he was like 8 years old, and we'd tell him no. We'd put him in his own room, and all of a sudden we wake up in the middle of the night, and there he is. And I'm like, get out of our room. But he needed to be close to mom, and yeah.
Hi, Jen.
Yeah.
Welcome to our first
Oh yeah, Jen says, okay, I missed part. Am I understanding that their child has? Oh, it was me. Yeah, our child. Yes. When he was born, yep, went into complete liver failure at 3 days old, and we could not figure out why. And so he was up there in the medical center here, which is one of the top children's medical centers in the country. And but he was considered a dirty baby because he'd been out of the hospital and then came back into the hospital because his condition was so severe. He had to be in the NICU, but he couldn't be by all the other NICU babies because he'd been out of the hospital and back in. And so he had to have his own nurse. He had to have his own room. It was a thing. It was really hard. And
we're just thankful he made it through.
yeah, now he's a
right back
thriving
and was
kid,
healthy,
and
yep.
he's our kid that's 6'10", 6'9", 6'10". He's right around there, and he's just a big boy and happy boy now. But yeah, let's see. That's funny. Okay, are you seeing any other questions you want to get? Okay, here's another question. Um, you've mentioned the covenants and promises couples have to make during the marriage ceremony. Most are unaware of what they will be promising before the sealing ceremony. Has anyone ever heard what they had to promise and they went, nope, out of the middle of the ceremony? Do you know if the AUB and the LDS sealing ceremonies contain the same covenants and promises? So yes, as far as I am aware, I have not been through the LDS temple, but as far as I am aware, the AUB goes back to the original covenants and promises that Joseph Smith came up
And
with.
or Brigham Young.
And or Brigham Young. And they do all the same tokens, same symbols, same signs. There is a video, you can YouTube it. It's called The God Makers, and they go into great detail about what it is. And the AUB still does those ceremonies. And I don't know anyone personally who has gone in the middle of the ceremony and gotten up and left. But I do know that it has happened. I have heard that it has happened. I don't personally know anyone who has done it because the shame and the guilt would be so overwhelming that I don't know that anyone would actually have the kahunas to do it. Maybe Rosa knows of somebody,
Yeah.
or Katie knows of somebody, because we've got Rosa on here as a moderator, and then Katie as Corey's little sister as a moderator. So.
Well, and I learned about it beforehand and had so many questions, and then just kind of had made an agreement that I wasn't going to go through it. And so that's why, I mean, even though I mostly went through the studies to be able to ask questions. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's usually people have no clue what they're walking into.
I had no idea.
Until they get in there, because it's they consider it sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And so because it's sacred, then you can't talk about it once you've had it. So sorry, what was that question? I didn't.
Oh, she was just saying, I've never heard of anyone walking out in the middle.
Okay.
I'm posting Rosa's comments as we're talking, that is kind of, supporting what we're doing. Hey everyone, I'm so glad everyone made it back. Sorry about that first live. How crazy. It's the little things that we don't think about. And then until we're in the middle of the live and then we're like, wait, why is this not working? Let's see. What happens if you decide you never want to marry in the AUB? Do you get kicked out?
You usually don't get it. So I've got many siblings that chose not to, and it's not that they got kicked out. They just left. You just pack up and leave. You go elsewhere, and the only reason that you would get kicked out is if you had got married in there, you were on priesthood land, and then you chose, okay, I'm no longer going to abide by those covenants or promises I made. Then they would ask you to leave priesthood land.
Yeah.
So, but no, there have been a few people that have been kicked out or excommunicated. Those were more so that they could make an example, to scare other people within the community to be righteous or stuff like that. But for the most part, no, they just, if you're not going to live it, you don't want anything to do with it, there's the door. You're welcome to leave. In fact, most of the guys are encouraged to leave to go find a wife outside the AUB and then bring them back in. That's kind of what is it? Code of entrance thing of, hey, you go get a wife, convert her, and bring her back in.
Yeah.
And then we'll let you back into the club. Oh.
But my understanding is Robin and her first husband, Robin from Sister Wives, Robin Brown, and her first husband, they were not married in the AUB, but they were married and still attended some church functions. And that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So where people will just come in there and then eventually if they decide they want to get more wives, then there's a process for that. And then they have to go through the temple and then they would have to go through the temple first. And then, so there was a question up there I thought I slowed the questions down, but I'll answer this one really quick. Can a wife agree not to perform the law of Sarah? Yeah, a lot of women do. But that's going to be like, there's some deep guilt and shame around that. And so it, again, coercive control,
You're not in harmony with your husband.
Yeah.
You're not in harmony usually with the family. Those wives that agree to do the law of Sarah are in harmony with him, and so then you'd be the odd wife out. Do you want to be the odd wife out? So.
Yeah, and then Rosa kind of answered this question, but I see your Jam. It says, I just got on. Did they answer your question? Is there a certain number of children a woman strives for? Great question. Not necessarily. You're just encouraged to have as many as God will bless you with. Yep. And you should never not take a blessing from God. And so if you do have you just have to have as many as you want. My mom always wanted 13. She had 11. And so it just kind of depends, what
my mom wanted a girl. So
she kept going till she got a girl.
So she had 7 kids because the 7th was a girl, and then she quit.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Let's
6
see.
boys and a girl.
Yeah. Let's see. I feel like they could get more men married if they allowed same-sex marriages. Less men would leave. Do you think that has come up in AUB meetings? That will never happen. What'd you just say?
Nothing. I was going to.
You were going to be a smart ass.
I was going to be smart aleck.
Corey was about to make a joke about that, but no. No, that would never happen. They would never, ever allow that.
Yeah, because there is no precedence in their doctrine that would, men just don't get married. And so.
Yeah. Yeah, I did slow the comments down again in this live, but maybe they're going a little bit faster. Let's see. That would be a hard no doctrine-wise. Yeah, even Rosa just said there's not even up for discussion on that. In fact, there has been several men and women who have come out, and it's dependent upon the situation is how they handle it. It depends on your last name and who you are. What kind of, I know one man came out that way, and all of the wives were offered to get releases from him, but if they chose to stay with him, they couldn't have intimate relationships with him until he'd gone through his penance process. Then he came back to the fold, or did his full penance, and came back and got more wives after that. And so I guess he was healed, if that's, I don't know what they even want to call that, because I don't know that there's, we have different thought patterns on what that, if there's a healing for that or not. But no, that would be a hard no. Let's see. Don't filter yourself, Corey, somebody says. Do you still have family in Pinesdale?
I do. Yep.
Yeah. So
because you're up there in
the people who are in blue are our moderators, and they're answering some of the questions for us. So if you ask a question and you don't hear us answer it, just see if like Katie or Rosa is going to answer it.
Triceratops it's my sister. So
okay, yeah, I want to answer this one because this is how I did it. Are AUB allowed to track cycles to prevent pregnancy or no? The teaching seems similar to the quiverful ideology, but they usually don't allow any sort of family planning at all. It was discouraged upon, but that's how I did it. I never went on birth control until after I had our last son, and then I got pregnant and miscarried. It was the first time, so I was 33 the first time I ever used birth control. And I had a lot of judgment come my way because I was like, this is great. But I also didn't like my husband the way that I liked Corey. And so it was easy for me gosh, how deep do I go into this? We were intimate about once every 6 months, and it was a marital obligation that I felt like I had to fulfill. And we were intimate with our garments on. We were, you typically said prayers before. What are you smirking over there? Here, I know I got to answer these hard questions. But I only did it because it was, and when it was over, I was like, oh, phew, I don't have to worry about that for a few more months. And so I felt like my garments protected me to some degree in that situation, that I didn't have to, it was hard. It was a hard situation, but I wasn't happy. I didn't know that women enjoyed intimacy. I didn't because it wasn't for women. They don't really care if you enjoy it or not. And so, when I got pregnant with my first child at 17 and had him like 3 days shy of us being married 9 months. And I found out later that I was at peak ovulation right on my wedding night. And so there was no way around that. That was just going to happen. And then the next one I had, so my 2 kids are 22 months apart. So I was 19 when I had the second one. And then I was like, whoa, I don't want any more children with this man, because things had progressed so horribly at that point. And I didn't want any more children with him. And I had to figure out how to make that not happen, because I couldn't use birth control. So I found the natural way. And then I just thought it was amazing. And I start telling all my friends about it. And I get shamed to hell and back by it, because, yeah, it was bad. So
Thanks, Sister Wife's Professor. It's what they got me for
hi.
Disneyland.
Yeah. Oh, we both have one.
So,
I've got one
yeah,
with a Minnie Mouse.
So the grandkids could tell who we were. So
Yeah. Welcome to our
in the
live.
crowd.
So for those of you that don't follow the Sister Wives Professor, he is amazing and we love him. And he just did a whole interview with Jen and her friend Mary Brown. So just Jen and her friend Mary Brown. He did a whole podcast with them. So go check him out if you have a chance. Of course, after the live, but go check him out. You'll love him. He's amazing. Yeah, I didn't know exactly. I didn't know I didn't know that women could love until Corey showed up, and then I was like, oh, okay, that's what this whole love thing is, and yeah, yeah, you look a little smug. Yeah, he definitely does.
I do.
He knows that he knocks me off my feet all the time. I love it. Rosa says, I primarily use cycle tracking for most of my adult life as well, pretty successfully for the most part. Yeah. Yes. See, the garments are magical protection. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really did use them as a protection, because it made me so that I didn't feel like I had to, like that was an obligation for me. It was not something that I enjoyed. So, yeah.
Did my only sister get out? Is that
Yeah,
a
drop
question
soup.
for me?
Yeah. What'd you see?
Somebody said, did my only sister get out of polygamy? Yeah. I have, my mom only had one daughter, but I have tons of sisters.
Yeah.
So I would say.
But they all left polygamy.
Yeah.
A couple of the sisters got married AUB way, but I think they're all out now.
Yeah. I would say that I have a older brother that still believes in polygamy. I have a younger brother that is in polygamy and has multiple wives. My older brother doesn't have any wives. And then I have an older sister that is still married into polygamy.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of my mom's kids are no longer a part of the AUB, including my sister. So
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so, okay, let's put this up there. Where do I find the Sister Wives Professor? I did see your interview on your channel. So if you go to that interview, we tagged his channel right there in our interview. So you can go and check that out if you want to. Yeah. And we can tag him again in this live too, so that you guys can see him. He's amazing. And all of his stuff is very well. He's very kind. And I really do appreciate that. Okay, what do you think the AUB really thinks about Cody and Robin, especially given how they treated the other wives and their children, not exactly showing the lifestyle at its best? I think that the other men in the AUB went, what a fool to get caught.
well,
That's what I think.
well, basically the way, I mean, I'm not a man in the AUB, but play one on TV occasionally. But they warned the Browns that if they went on TV and showed their lifestyle, that the public and Lucifer would tear them apart. And so
Yeah.
they basically are sitting back saying, see, we told you so. So that's really how they feel about it. Yeah, and I would agree with Melanie. Well,
Shame on
Yeah,
you for getting caught. You need to be smarter
you
than
need to be
that.
smarter than that.
They all
It
treat
was
their wives
because-
that way.
It was because you were on TV and you kept talking so that the wife could see everything you were saying in the background. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's really the case. And I mean, honestly, we've said this from the beginning. The Browns were the family to aspire to be like. They were very well loved, and the wives worked pretty cohesively together in the very beginning. And I mean, honestly, I've had dozens of conversations with my dad like that. And honestly, Dad, if anyone can make make polygamy look good, it's the Browns. And it really wasn't until the fourth wife came in that things started to unravel as quickly as they did. Are there hard parts of polygamy? Absolutely. There always is going to be. Of course, they're not going to televise a lot of that stuff, but yeah. Yeah. But I absolutely think that those men just think that Cody's a fool for getting caught. No. Let's see. I have a question. Is there an option to subscribe to your channel so we don't have to see ads after your lives? New to this, but been binging all your stuff. Thank you. I think there is. This is where I'm not like, yeah, I think there is. What we should start doing is, I'll see. I know there's a way to do that. I will figure that out, and then I'll put it on our members only channel. I'll have our live regular for everyone to see. But then I'll also put a new version of it on the members only channel so that if you're a member, then you don't have to watch any of the, also if you have YouTube premium, then you don't have to watch the lives either, or the ads. But yeah. So how do you think Robin rationalizes the AUP attitude towards them post-divorce? Maybe be a little bit more specific with that question. I want to make sure I answer that correctly. Random question. Have you ever been to New York City? Yeah, I have. Nope, Corey has not. Yeah, I used to work for an airline, and after our baby got sick, we needed specialized medical insurance. And so I went to work for one of the airlines that had some very, very good insurance. And I was able to take my kids on a day trip. My mom and my two oldest, the four of us, we just did a day trip to New York and went around. And then I've worked in New York once or twice with my daughter. She's professional photography and she traveled all around the country. So I went with her I don't think there's a state in the country I haven't been in.
Yep, you guys traveled a lot.
Yeah.
I
So
watched the little guys.
Yeah.
Stay at home and cool
Yeah.
dad.
yeah, Corey stayed home with the kids and I was able to travel with her before she moved away. Yeah, I think Robin and Cody used the word safe to make everyone else feel unsafe. And now they're unsafe because people reacted negatively. I would agree with that. I'm a little disheartened with how I feel like they abused the word safe. I feel like it was very abused. And unfortunately, in my experience, people go into therapy and then they use the terminology. And now they've been raised in high controlled religions. And so they know the manipulation tactics and now they know the terminology. And those can be very dangerous combination when you know the manipulation tactics and now you know the verbiage and how to manipulate people. And that's kind of what I feel like Robin and Cody have done. Yeah, I think it can be very dangerous.
Well, usually a therapist is talking to them, trying to get them to go through some healing on their end, some understanding on their end, and they do. A lot of people listen to, well, this is some good advice for this person or that person. They're never looking to internalize it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to internalize it. I mean, I feel like it's hard for them to even internalize it when they're being talked to from the leadership too.
Right.
Well, wait a minute, that's this other wife's problem. And that's something that, we're getting disciplined. It must be, you guys must be talking about, and it's because, to be honest with you, the way I grew up, very rarely was I disciplined on my own. We were disciplined as a group of kids. And so you would be sitting there, they're talking about, which sibling are they talking about? Because that's not me, right? So,
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, shoot. Oh, somebody says, I always thought Robin's first marriage was within the AUB. I was under the impression that they had intended to find sister wives, but that would not. But would that have been allowed for them? No. No, they were not married under the umbrella of the AUB, because she was pregnant before she got married. That they couldn't have been. So they would have had to go and be married for a year, and then they could start their penance process, if you will. And then after that, they would go through the temple, and then they could be a part of the AUB. But before then, no, they probably just were active. Okay, I think I missed it. Right here. He says, thank you again. It's just Mel and Corey have sometimes not felt safe from possible repercussions from certain AUB members. I just wondered if Cody and Robin ever felt the same. Okay, I see what you're saying there.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, you can answer that one.
Well, I mean, they were very tame, if you will, on what they would talk about as far as doctrine. They never went into the doctrine part. So they were reprimanded. I mean, from the AUB, they tried to be very careful because they're still trying to be a part of the AUB. We're not trying to be a part of the AUB. And so, and I still think to this day, Cody and Robin, most of them are very respectful of the doctrine part of it. They're not going to communicate the doctrine part of it. So,
Right.
yeah, there's really nothing to, I don't know. There could be some worry. There probably is some worry at times for them. But to be honest with you, if they're faithful within the AUB, they're more worried about the outside world and the government than they are from the people within. So,
Right. And I do appreciate what Rosa just said there, because that is true. I have a little bit more political current connections than Robin and Cody do. Yeah, they can just drift off into the night and it's fine. But I don't get the luxury of just drifting off into the night without my father coming and saying things. So unfortunately.
left.
Okay, yeah. So Jody, thank you for that super chat. She says, so for all the siblings that have left, did they need releases? Why did you have to struggle to get one? Why won't your dad give your mom one? Again, well, where we see Christine and she just walks away and she doesn't care. I think it depends on the level of your invested interest, I guess, if you would. I struggled to get one for years until I hit the point where I was just like, I don't care. I'm gone. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm leaving. You can't control me like this. And then I started dating a fellow AUB kid, which then he understood the dynamics of what is happening. And in order for him to ever be accepted by my family or our children, then he knew that I needed to make sure that I had that release. So some people have just left and they don't care. They just walk away because they're like, I don't believe in this anymore. This has nothing to do with me. And they just walk away. It took 4 years for me to hit that point. And then I had walked away. And then I was just like, I don't care anymore. You can't, because it's a form of control. And so if they can control your life in that regard, then you still are a puppet to them. And I was a puppet for a very long time until I finally went, I'm done. So then when I called Corey and asked him out, he was like, wait, I can't date you. You're still married. And I'm like, well, I'm not, but I don't know how to get divorced.
Yeah.
So
You were common law married too. And so you did have to go through the divorce process.
right.
And so, yeah, we grew up in the AUB. We didn't know how to unravel marriage or the grant. We didn't know how to unravel it. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, and usually when the AUB does it, it's a little bit of a bippity boppity boo. Now you're married to this person, and they just switch homes with kids and stuff like that. Out here in the world, you have to go through a whole bunch of legal processes. You got to go in front of a judge, get a signed document saying that you're divorced from that person, and you can separate finances and all sorts of stuff like that. So
Yeah. And
it's a little bit more difficult out here in the real world. So
where so many of us are so uneducated. I mean, I know you guys are so sweet, because every time I say that, I get a million comments in the comment section where they're like, we don't like it when you guys say you're uneducated. But back then I really was. I've had to educate myself. But back then I was 25 with 3 small children, and I had never, I didn't know anything really about the real world. And so I didn't know that there was such a thing as common law. I didn't know anything like that. It took a police officer coming to my home, you know, because when I started dating Corey, a lot of police unfortunately did get involved. And the police officer is finally the one who educated me in what steps I should take, because it certainly wasn't going to be anyone in my family. And it wasn't going to be anyone that was close to me. And this is another reason why we promote holding out help as much as we do, because they really do hold people's hands through the process.
educating them,
And no one had ever left under the circumstances that I had left under. And so no one was going to assist
you
me
knew
in
of.
that I knew of. Yeah, not anyone in my family, at least.
Yeah.
I was really the first person to leave. And so for a police officer one day, I'm just sitting there like, what is real life? Like, we are not an episode of Cops, if anyone remembers the show Cops back then. And I was just so stunned because I just didn't know. And the police officer came up to me, and he could tell I was shaken, obviously, and gave me the advice, and I had to go down and get a protective order, and then filed for a legal divorce. Thank you so much for that super chat, Share Bear. She says, Mel, were you happy that you got the release once you did? Yes. We comment on the episodes of Sister Wives, and Janelle was like, I don't know if it's really going to matter to me if I get a release or not. I'm screaming at the TV, it does matter. It does matter. And then she goes and gets it, and she's like, wow, it's like this whole different energy, this whole different vibration that I'm feeling. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. And it was that way for me too. But he dragged our divorce out for 18 months. And the only thing I fought for was full legal custody of my children. I didn't want him to have any legal custody over my children at all. And that was the day that felt the most freeing to me, because I'd already released the church and all of the bullshit that came along with that. I'd already gotten that out of my mind. That was no longer a thing for me. But financially, he still had hold over me, and he still had hold over the children. And so the day that I got that document, it was signed and stamped on my 10-year anniversary. And I was like, thank God. And that when all of a sudden I felt like I could breathe for the first time in my life, because I no longer belonged to my father. I was 27 at this point. I no longer belonged to my father, and I no longer belonged to my ex-husband. I was a free woman. And what did I do? 4 weeks later, jumped into a legal marriage with this guy. I was like, let's go. So
CM Punk from WWE. I can see that. Yeah.
who, what?
So
What are you reading?
Eva Bridgeforth says, Corey, my husband saw you and asked if I was watching an interview with CM Punk from the WWE. Now I can't unsee it.
Oh gosh, that's
So,
gonna.
I love the WWE. We were very sheltered kids, and so, but one of the things that I had a couple younger brothers that got into wrestling, and so we'd go down and watch some of the wrestling matches. They did it all over the valley, and so then I come down here and see WWE, and I didn't know it was fake, I should say, at the time. So probably not. But yeah, I was very lit up watching it the very first time somebody.
He loves that.
But I love it now. I do.
yeah.
I'm watching it all the time.
Okay, somebody says, would you two ever consider doing a YouTube series reviewing Big Love? I know you've seen it before, but I'd be so interested on what you
would
had to say.
enjoy
We are
watching that
absolutely
again.
doing that.
That's one that I would absolutely enjoy. So
We loved that series.
Because-
We laughed our butts off watching that series.
there, it is serious. There is some serious things they do in there, but they most faithful members of the AUB would disagree with how the series portrayed them or portrayed it, and I didn't,
Because
I
we
agreed
watched
with
it
them.
and we said we would pick out the different scenarios. Oh, we know who that scenario is about. We know who that scenario is about. And if you've ever watched our channel before, then you know that, my dad did a lot of interviews, and it's rumored or believed out there that Bill Paxton's character was based on my dad. was loosely based on my family. His first wife had cancer. My mom had cancer. The second wife is the compound wife. My dad's second wife's the compound wife. And so there's a lot of similarities. And my dad watched the very first episode of Big Love with news reporters and all of his he had 5 wives at the time. And he watched it with all 5 wives and a news reporter. And it was hilarious. And so, yeah, and he would kind of sneak to our house on Sundays after church and watch it with us. And I was always so curious as to why he was so interested. I didn't know. But if any of you know who Moroni Jessup is, or punk rock polygamist, he came out with that theory. I think this show is based around Melanie's dad, because my dad had done a book, or had done an interview with Brady Udell, who wrote a book called The Lonely Polygamist. And Big Love was loosely based on that book. So, yeah.
Any other similarities?
I don't know. What
What
smart aleck comments going through your head right now, boy?
Yeah, they just were, I don't know, having sex all the time, needing Viagra.
Oh my gosh, what the heck?
I didn't know. If those aren't the similarities that you're looking for, I see it. So
yeah, so Bill Paxton, for all of you who need to know this, Bill Paxton was on a little blue pill, very common. Well, this is what kills me about this, the double standard hypocrisy of this BS, is that, women, we don't care if women enjoy sex. We don't care. Women can't go on birth control. We don't care if they enjoy it, but a man can go on a little blue pill and that's totally fine. Like, right. Make it make sense. Where did it say anywhere in the scriptures that a man can, that a man that doesn't have a fluffer wife available to him can go on a little blue pill?
Well, it's when you're taking the sacrament, you get bread, break it up, and then pray over it. And then it helps you. But it's that blessing that makes it. So as long as you partake of this sacrament and pray over it, it's just God helping you. So
yeah,
produce.
It infuriates me, as you can tell. That's why he loves to bring
sarcastic.
it up. Do parents pit kids against each other? Yes. For example, that happened to some girls. 3 get to go to college, money from parents, and 3 have to get married to farmers. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. And both the fathers and the mothers do it. And it happened in my family all the time. It still happens to this day. What's funny to me is I was the oldest, and I tended to get, well, Melanie says, blah, 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 blah. Well, Melanie says, da, 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 da. And I'm like, listen, you fool. I'm talking to my dad. You don't know how many times I've yelled at my dad over this. Listen, you fool, don't blame me for something you said. I just happened to be in the same room breathing the same air that you were breathing when you said that. And then he goes and tells everybody I said it. No, he's an idiot when it comes to that. It makes me furious. Oh. Let's see.
I missed it. Down.
Oh, wait. There has to be many polygamous men on a blue pill unless they have superpowers to avoid ED. Oh, I missed the rest of the conversation.
And it would be denied.
When older. Yeah. A fluffer wife. I'm sorry, but there are fluffer wives. I thought your mom was the second wife, not the Okay, so this is where it can get a little bit confusing. My mom is the second wife. So it says, I thought your mom was the second wife, not a compound wife. The first wife left when I was 2 years old. So my mom, most people that know my parents never knew the first wife. They only know my mom as the first wife, and because she left when we were so little. So I have an older brother and an older sister. I have an older brother who's 18 months older than me and a sister who's 4 months older than me. And their mom left when my sister and I were not quite 2 years old, I don't think. And so she legally divorced my dad the whole bit and and never came back. And so her family had joined the AUB, and then most of them had left the AUB. And so, yes, so that's why I say, that's why it can sound confusing, because my mom, for most people in the AUB, know my mom as the first wife because of that. Does that hopefully that makes sense. Again, that could be something that's like, oh, Melanie doesn't know what she's talking about. She's saying one thing and another.
I don't know when they were interviewed by Brady Udell, but if at the time she was, because I mean I read an interview that they had done in German, and
Yeah, I posted some of those pictures on our
it
Instagram
made it
page.
sound like your mom was the first wife, and
Yeah, yeah.
the other one was the second. So
Yeah. So if you look at that, then yes, my mom would be considered the first wife. And then the second wife, which is technically the third wife, I guess, is the compound wife. And yeah, that's where it can get confusing for everyone. I apologize. So, but yeah, most people know my mom as that. I've been wanting to make Nikki, yeah. Okay, I'm going to come back to this question in just a second. Here's where my dad pitted me against even the moms. My dad would do this to me with the moms. We're watching Big Love one day and we're talking and I said to my dad, or my dad said, "Oh my gosh, this wife is exactly like Nikki." And I'm like, "Yeah, she is. Oh my gosh, she's exactly like Nikki." My dad goes to that wife and says, "Melanie says that you're a B word just like this girl is." And I'm like, "What the hell, Dad?" And so she comes back all angry and pissed off because she's not the compound wife, but she is. And yeah, that's how my dad loves to pit people against each other. It's just like that. I think Joe Darger's parents were also inspiration for some story at some points. Mm-hmm. That would be funny if you know Joe Darger's family, his parents. Oh, let me go back up here. I'm obsessed. I've been wanting to make a YouTube series on that show. I'm so obsessed. Yeah, we absolutely want to. I think it's such a funny show. We laughed our butts off watching that show. Let's see. And this happens all the time. When Barb and Bill were sneaking behind the other wives' backs off schedule was a great plot line. That happens all the time. Let's just call Cody and Robin and talk to them about it because, that's what, yeah, what a shit stir. Yeah, thank you. My dad did this to me all the time. And so if my other mother is watching, just know that I didn't say that about you. Dad did. And he blamed it on me because I happened to be I was just in the same room. Everyone laughed, everyone agreed, and somehow he pinned it on me. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell, Dad?
So we didn't get in trouble. Yeah, I want you to answer the next question.
What? Who is Bill's crazy mother based on? That'd be Joe Darger's mom. No, I just she's a sweetheart. I worked for her for years, but she's a little, I mean, I like her and all, but see, this is where I get myself in trouble because then I say stupid shit like that on a live I shouldn't be saying.
I thought you were going to say it was your grandmother.
Oh, my dad's mom?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Are you kidding me? No, she's not even close to that.
Well,
maybe my grandpa's second wife. Yeah.
I thought she left. Well, I have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
I'm confused I thought she left.
No, she's the one who's going to shoot him.
Yeah. And then left and poisoned him. And
yeah.
But then didn't she leave him then and marry
the prophet?
The prophet?
Does anybody remember that?
Remember.
Did she leave Bill's dad and then marry the prophet? Because that's what my grandma did. She left my grandpa and then married the prophet. But I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Corey, you remind me of my dad, the grin, the snark. It makes me smile. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Blaming a fart on the dog, basically. That's exactly how but my dad does it to the kids too. You know what Melanie said? I'm like, Dad, I didn't say that. Like, yeah, he's a jackass when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, somebody says, yes, that makes sense. She was the first wife left standing. Yeah. Yeah, she was. And so it's definitely, my mom definitely gets put into that first wife position. And then she also hasn't been active in the AUB for 10 years. And so then even the compound wife gets moved into the, oh my gosh, we didn't even know she existed. Here's the compound wife. She must be wife number one. And so it's easy to reshuffle the order, if you will. What?
So what you're saying there about your dad throwing you under the bus is like you've been your dad's family scapegoat for.
Oh, wow, that's rude. No, I'm nothing like Robin.
No, I was just
Oh,
curious. Yeah.
somebody
Brown
said
family scapegoat.
I'm the Watson family. Um, yeah, please tell us more about Big Love's plot lines. Yeah, honestly,
I
we
need to
would watch
rewatch
it
it
and we would
again.
laugh so hard because, and then my dad would come over to, he would sneak over after church and watch it with us. And then, and we would say, okay, this is our thought. Who do you think this plot line is about? And he's like, yeah, I could see that. And then he'd confirm some of them. And some of them he'd be like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Well, the first couple episodes were all sex scenes and sex based, and that's what they were mostly irritated about because it was pretty passionate. And that,
Rosa even says, your
yeah,
grandpa's second wife was something. Yeah, Rosa knew my grandpa pretty well. My grandpa was the kind of man where he would be like, hey, you have a truck. I have a granddaughter. You want to swap?
want trade?
You want to trade? You can have one of my granddaughters and I can have your
I'll
truck.
put a good word for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how my grandpa was very much. Let's see. Okay. She was a granddaughter. Okay. Sorry. I thought maybe you were answering a different question. Yeah. His second wife was definitely a little crazy. Mel, you should do the same, Mel, and tell everyone random shit that your dad says about them. Thing is, I never even said anything. He said it and then he would blame it on me. And he still does that to this day. And
The
so,
nice thing is we just can tell the truth, what he says.
yeah.
He looks like.
And I haven't bothered to defend myself. Okay, so Rosa, yeah. Someone had maybe I won't go into that story right now, but yeah, it's funny. I don't defend myself a lot. People hear a story about me and I just let it go. Unless I'm online and people are like, Melanie doesn't know what she's talking about. And then I'm like, let me clear this up because I could see how that might be confusing. Then I'll talk about something like that. But when it comes to family and stuff like that, like why did I get divorced from my first husband? I haven't really ever gone and defended a lot of that. And I don't defend it when my dad does stupid shit like that either. I just let him do his thing. And because I have kids that I've been raising and things I've been doing, I don't have time to go back and clean things up with people. If they want to believe that, then good on them. If they think that I'm of that character, then good on them. And most of the people who do believe that kind of stuff is not somebody that we have in our life normally or every day. We just don't. And so, yeah. So your grandpa was bartering with you all. Yes, he was. Yep. Oh,
And the next one was good too. So
this one, making polygamy sexy again. I'll never forget when the son wanted to get married and he says, if I get bored of her, I'll just get another wife. And that's what
he
that's
watched growing up. So
yeah. Yeah. That's the tragedy of it is because then they can just shelf that wife and move on to the next wife and they don't care. And it's infuriating to watch because look at how young that kid was when he said that in the show. He was very young in his late teens, early 20s. And that's already the mentality of these men, of these young boys that are turning into men, unfortunately. Have you ever known your dad to be afraid of anyone, Mel? Just some of his wives. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, he's got 2 wives that he's been fairly afraid of. And so they have physically assaulted my dad. They have, there's been some pretty big aggression, but other than that, no, I don't know that he's been afraid of. I mean, my dad's 6'8". He's a big dude. His hand is bigger than my entire face. And so he's always been able to, he definitely is not that afraid. Let's see. In Big Love, the character Roman has a 16-year-old placement wife and no one in the outside world reports him or says anything directly to him. Did this happen with Rulin too? Yeah, I mean, I think so. But that's when the state came in and cracked down on the AUB and Rulin went to prison. Right?
AUB.
In Rulin Allred? I'm assuming you're speaking about Rulin Allred?
No, they just cracked down when Rulin went to prison. They were cracking down on polygamy itself.
Well, right.
It didn't, but yeah, it could have been heads up at the time. that he was married, but it probably got the attention brought to them that he was living polygamy because he was marrying a younger girl. So
Because yeah, and I'm assuming you're speaking about Rule and Allred there.
they hit a whole bunch of men at that time. I think it was more of a roundup of polygamous communities.
Right.
So I don't know if they were drawn to Rulon because of that, or if he was just in the wrong community at the wrong time. Because I think when he was getting rounded up, he wasn't a leader of any sort. He wasn't.
Oh yeah, I think he was the leader of the AUB. Yeah.
In the 50s? No, that's when they did it. It was in the 50s.
We'll have to definitely look back on the
He
timeline.
wasn't the leader, I don't think.
Yeah.
They had the person before him was the leader at that point. So
Joseph Musser.
I think so.
Because Joseph Musser was the Rulin's youngest wife was 14 or 15, super young. So he started courting, he got interested in her at 14 and married her when she was 15 and he was 39. So, so that he was very, very young, or she was very young. And I did know that wife, before she passed, and I've actually been good friends with a couple of her children. And she was definitely, different. I guess she was a lot different. I think you have to be in order to live this mentality and live this religion. Says now is a good time to start Big Love. Yeah, we've been.
Yes, I'll have to see where it's playing again.
Our biggest thing right now is we want to put out our own. We want to put out the 27 laws of polygamy. That's one of the things that we want to work on, or that we want to get out to you guys as soon as we can. And then also a couple of our own personal experiences we want to get out there. So we're working on those videos right now.
Yeah.
And
then we'll go into Big Love.
yeah, because I think Big Love would be really fun. I do really get tired of talking about sister wives. Again, it's what's current and people know it.
And to tell you the truth, Big Love was more realistic.
Yeah.
In many ways. So.
Oh, we do have somebody here from the AUB. I wondered, says Uncle Rulon didn't have a young wife at the time he went to prison, only married to the first 3 wives. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure about that. I don't know the timeline. What's so great is we do tend to get a lot of AUB members that watch, and then I get a bunch of messages after our lives.
Yeah.
And because sometimes we just don't know, we don't know certain things.
I didn't think he was the leader yet. I think he was, I can't even remember the year I think Musser died. I'd have to look that
Isn't it
up.
on our map right there?
Probably.
We have a map of all the different polygamous groups and how they started, when they started, who they were started by. Yeah.
He was in 54 to 77.
So Rulon was the prophet 54 to 77.
Yeah, I think 54 to 77. So, and then his brother took over in 77. So
Yeah, and then he was
based on our polygamy leadership tree.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was killed in 77, and then Owen Allred took over in 77, and I'm not sure what year Owen died. I think it was 2002 is when he died. So.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he died, Lemoyne Jensen became the prophet after that. And then Lynn Thompson became the prophet.
He was the leader when they rounded him up.
That's what I thought. I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, Janet Bayless says you need to write a book. We are actually working on that right now. So
She is.
yeah, I just got a book accountability buddy. So if any of you guys have seen Daughters of the Cult, I absolutely love Cecilia. So her and I are going to be book writing buddies this year and accountability buddies on it. And she is cousins to Ruth Warrener, who wrote The Sound of Gravel. And so because her dad, Cecilia's dad was Ervil LeBaron and Ruth's dad was Joel LeBaron. So yeah, that's how we connected right after Daughters of a Cult came out. If you haven't seen that, that's fascinating documentary, and she's on there with her sister Anna. When is your podcast with Jaden coming out? It's in the editing right now. I'm not exactly sure when we'll have that, probably in the next week, I would think. I think he said Sunday, but I can't remember. I need to follow up with him on that. And so, yeah, we're going to be, that one is a great interview. We had a lot of fun doing that with him. It was a really long day. I think we spent like 5 hours with him, and learned a lot of stuff. So learned a lot of stuff, things that I'm like, I don't know, you hear so much about Warren Jeffs anywhere anymore, but it was fascinating to hear his take on it. Rulin, Jeffs is in solitary confinement. You're right, he'd be taken out. Yeah, Warren Jeffs is in solitary confinement right now. So, Big Love shows the loneliness aspect of all the members of the families that go through more than Sister Wives ever has. And I think that's the one thing that bothered me the most about Sister Wives, is they talk about this big, huge family and how which is great. Like, I remember we felt that way too.
The utopia.
But it is very lonely. It is a very lonely religion, because you can't talk about your true, honest feelings, because if you do, then you are you're subject to shame and guilt, because you're not keeping sweet and keeping close to the Lord and all of the other things. So yeah, Jaden Jeffs is great. Yeah.
You're the kid that says that the emperor's not wearing clothes, and then you're, but in that story, all the people wake up and go, oh, he isn't wearing clothes. But within the AUB, they've all got their blinders on. So
yeah,
the prophet's not profiting very well. And
we were talking about that this morning. Is if you're the kid, like in this religion, everyone, it's like the emperor. Now that just went right out of my brain. The emperor's new clothes, and he's actually naked, but no one can talk about that. And so if you mention that, then you are. And Katie, Corey's little sister Katie, we were just talking about you this morning too, saying Katie was one of the kids that would call out, wait a minute, this isn't right. And if you were that child that called the emperor with no clothes on, then you were shunned and you were treated poorly, and you were very aggressively treated. And and when we grew up,
you're called rebellious, and so and then the people would still believe that the emperor had the nicest of clothes. So
and so that's really how this religion teaches people to be, is don't speak the obvious. Don't like, if we all just pretend and we all live in a cloak of, nothing's really there, don't believe your own eyes, then we'll all get along just great. But the minute that you want to be the child that says, hey, wait a second, this doesn't seem right. Yeah. And there she,
fair.
Yeah. So Corey's little sister was definitely one of those. I was like, oh no, what did I do? No, you were definitely, we were just saying, one of the kids who definitely was like calling stuff out. Like, this doesn't make sense. This isn't fair. This isn't right.
Things weren't fair. So.
And then you were always, it seemed like, it appeared to me, even when I came into the family 26 years ago, it appeared to me that it was like, those were the troubled kids, or the rebellious kids, or they were labeled something that wasn't very nice or flattering. Jaden is really a good human, really delightful to listen to, and like Mel and Corey, thank you. Yeah, he really was very fun to talk to. He's the same age as our son that just got married. So I kind of felt like, oh gosh, we're the old people in the room. But he carried a conversation very well, and we really, really enjoyed it. And we told him, let's do this again. I really enjoyed the Sister Wives professor. We really enjoyed doing a conversation with him. I feel like there's people that we've spoken to that are really thought-provoking, and and I really appreciate those kind of conversations. What were you going to say? Let's see. My life has not been touched by polygamy, but I find that many of your conversations translate to toxic people I had to deal with. Thanks for the grace in which you addressed the effects to women. Yeah, thank you. Because some people don't think I'm very graceful, and other people think I'm too graceful. I give too much grace, and other people don't think I'm very graceful at all. So I appreciate that. Let's see. How would someone like Robin get into a new family with a reputation for shopping addiction and also helping to push out 3 other wives? Wouldn't other families not want to bring in that drama? Well, again, most people that we know have not watched Sister Wives. And then also, it goes right back to what we were just saying. The emperor has no clothes. Like, oh, let's pretend that that doesn't exist.
I'm assuming you're not the real Christine Brown.
Oh, is that the name on there? Oh, I didn't even read the name. No, I don't think so. But yeah, they just pretend it doesn't exist.
Well, and because if she went through the process of getting a release from Cody and a full-on legal divorce, she'd probably come in with some means and funds.
A pretty big, heavy purse.
And so the men would probably want to add to their kingdom from Cody's kingdom. So
Yeah.
Cody would be ticked. Cody wasn't wanting any man's kingdom to grow because of his kingdom.
Right. Well, and he even said that to Christine in one of the episodes. What worries me is that you're going to get a boyfriend who's going to want to come in and take our money. And Christine's like, excuse me? You know, and so.
Grow the kingdom.
Yeah. Whoops. Let's see. I think I accidentally removed I removed a comment on accident. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I removed Christine Brown's comment. I did not mean to do that. I apologize. Can I don't know if I can take that off of there. I was trying to look at other comments and I double tapped too quickly.
Yeah, you need to undo that one.
I know, I didn't mean to do it. I meant to, I was trying to like scroll on my screen and I apologize. I did not mean to remove your comment, but let's see. His money, exactly. That's exactly what these men look at it like. And that's where my divorce turned so ugly, is because the only thing he cared about was protecting all of the money that he believed was all his. The only thing I cared about was getting full legal custody over my children. And so I had to really, really fight. And it took 18 months to get divorced because of that. Let's see. Let me scroll through here. Oh yeah, people are asking about Big Love. Yeah, I think you can see it on HBO Max. I think it originally came out on HBO Max,
Yeah,
right?
so I just asked I think they're responding to that because I was like, I don't even know where to look or watch it again. So
Okay. She says not the Christine Brown from the show, no, but that is my real name. That's funny.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, again, I didn't mean to delete your message. I'm scrolling through the messages on my phone and I just double tapped a little bit too quickly. It's my ADD kicking in. I apologize. Somebody says, I don't think Robin would want to give up any of her money to another family. That's the problem too, is that a coercive control is that we've seen this where women will come in and they have an inheritance and it goes towards the family because don't you want the whole family to grow and prosper? Or people will come in with a 401k and it gets given to the family. I mean, we've seen that. I feel like that is very common, unfortunately, and these women do it, especially like there's a running joke on our channel that Robin will end up marrying my dad. If you do that, I mean, you're not going to say no to the prophet. The prophet's going to tell you what you need to do. You walk in with a pretty heavy purse, and he's gonna do his best to control that purse. Let's see. Someone said that the sister wives wouldn't get much of a say about Robin joining their families, a bit like Christine and Janelle didn't get much of a say about Robin coming into theirs. Let's see. And unfortunately, that does happen. Yes. Says, did you see my super chat? No, I didn't. I don't know did we skip over one? I thought we got them all. I see one from Share Bear. I apologize for that. And then one from Jody. I don't see one from you, Heather. I'm sorry. Did you do it on this live? If you just did it on our channel, we wouldn't see it. But if you did it on the live, then we would see it. No, I apologize for that. Yeah, nope. The only one I'm seeing is Share Bear and Jody's. We always try to get to the super chats first, and then our members, our channel members, and then get to the other ones after that. But unfortunately, every sister wife is supposed to have an opinion. They're supposed to be able to have a say in what's happening. That doesn't always happen, unfortunately. And it's against the doctrine teaching But then there's also another doctrine teaching that if your wife is not in harmony and she refuses to get out of harmony or get in harmony, then you can bypass her. So what do you say?
Yeah. Well, then she's going to be put into especially, it's kind of one of those domino following things. If a husband is interested in a wife coming into the family and all of the current wives are out of harmony and I don't think she belongs in there. If all of them don't want to be a part of her to be a part of it, then then he's kind of has to back down. But if one or two wives get on board and say, no, I think she'd be great in the family, then it usually gets all of the wives on board type thing, because they don't want to be left out on being a supportive, supporting their husband. That's why when Christine's book, when she went and talked to that girl and said, you're not going to be a part of the family, that's because that girl had irritated all three of the wives.
Yeah.
And so they were able to make a stand, say, no, you're not going to be a part of that because all three. But that's why when Robin was coming into the family, Cody took Mary over. Once Mary was on board going, yes, we should do this, then all of a sudden there would be less of an argument. They might not have been as enthusiastic about it, but they wouldn't have got in the way of it, type thing.
Yeah, no, I did find your super chat. It actually just went onto our channel for some reason. It didn't attach to this live. Someone says that super chats haven't been working today. I tried earlier on a live and it was kept timing out. Maybe it's a YouTube issue. It might be because, I found it here. It says, I'm curious about education. On a trivia night episode, the question was, what country in Africa still practices polygamy? Christine's answer was I can't even say it, Uruguay. I felt really sorry for her. Education is not, especially not for girls, is not. Yeah. Do you know what countries still practice polygamy in?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
So
I honestly don't know either.
It was really never brought up or talked about, other than because this was a new and everlasting covenant that had been brought about by Joseph Smith. And so, because if there was other polygamy being lived, it was being lived not with the endorsement of God. So
for those of you that don't maybe understand that, how Mormonism was started is, Joseph Smith believes that God the Father, his son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost, who was the third one, came down and visited him, and they gave him the actual keys of the priesthood. So if somebody I know it went right out of my brain just now. If they're living it in different countries, they're living it improperly because they weren't given the true lineage of priesthood. And so that's why we've said on our channel before, priesthood lineage is almost more important than bloodline lineage, because it matters that you have the right priesthood from the right person. And somebody had asked earlier if you had held the Aaronic or the Melchizedek priesthood, and you don't have to answer that if you don't want to, but.
Oh, is that serious?
Yeah, they did. They legit asked that. And I meant to get to the question. I forgot.
Both the erotic and...
Oh my gosh. I did not understand why people were saying that on our channel. Erotic.
The erotic priesthood was my first calling. And then, I got the Melchizedek priesthood at the very end there, and then got it taken away. So it was awesome. But I really thrived in the erotic priesthood. So.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, that's what it is.
Oh, yeah. Her point, Heather says, my point was that she doesn't know basic geography, and that makes me sad for the education you guys get. Okay, here's a story that I have been really ashamed of and embarrassed of, because I was probably 20 when this happened. Well, maybe not 20. I was probably 18, 19 when this happened. Because I did babysit more often than I went to school. School was not a priority. And my sister and I were talking, or somebody was talking, they were talking about Washington, D.C., and they were saying something about Washington, D.C., and being by Virginia and something to that effect. And I was like, no, it's not. It's on the West Coast. I did not realize at that point in my life that there was a Washington State and there was a Washington, D.C. I had no idea. My sister was such an asshole to me about that because she is very, very educated and she took her education very serious. And she was just like, she mocked me for years over that. And I quickly went and got a map and looked it up. And I was like, because I was so confused, I had no idea. And again, this is another reason why we have educated ourselves as much as we have. And I still don't feel very educated, but it's something that I carried a lot of shame around for a lot of years about that one thing. Like, how would I not know that Washington, D.C. was on the East Coast and Washington State, and they were two separate things, but I didn't know that. And
district and state.
What? A district and a state? Yeah, I did not know.
The interesting part is we were encouraged to study Scripture, Book of Mormon, Bible, stuff like that. And so, yeah, a lot of I could tell you where Zarahemla was supposed to be, but
yeah, we could tell you where some of the Bibles were, but not.
Or the Book of Mormon stuff was. But,
yeah.
But yeah, I have had to educate myself, and I felt like I got because we had the community education. They actually had teachers up there that cared about us, and so we did get some good education growing up. And then I've had to try to educate myself more as an adult. So
yeah, my sister shamed me for that for years over that. And I mean, probably something she still remembers to this day because she was not a very nice person. I still don't think she is. Okay, Murray says, oh, I have a question. You said that deceased women can be sealed to a man. Can more women, dead or alive, be sealed to a man after he dies? Happens all the time. Yep, happens all the time. And the Mormon Church does this too. It's not just the AUB that does this.
But they do baptisms for the dead.
Yeah, they do the baptism. Oh, I think they do sealings too.
Sealings too. Yeah.
If any of our LDS people are on here and you know that, I think the LDS Church does that too. They do sealings, as well. Yeah. Yeah. And Heather says, I felt bad because she had no idea what country went to what continent. Oh my God. In my mind, I can say it just fine. Uruguay is in South America. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured too. But I mean, I'm not geographically. Yeah, I went to Israel and I could tell you where some of that stuff is, but I'm not like worldly. Angel Moroni. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
What?
We were growing up. Yes, we did geography, the 50 states of America. But yeah, we were mostly just interested in not necessarily. I didn't get a lot. You got a lot of stuff about the Book of Mormon,
right?
Timelines and things like that. Not necessarily American history. I didn't get American history more until I was in high school,
right?
From the packets and stuff like that. So
yeah, I want to read this one. Gwalt when. Dig. Sorry, I probably slaughtered that name. So the Kingstons are delusional then because they are trying to make a bloodline than the priesthood lineage. Yeah. It depends on, it depends on which group you belong to, what you believe is most important. And they believe that they are direct. In my understanding, and I could be wrong, my understanding is they believe they're direct lineage from Jesus Christ. And so they're trying to keep that bloodline pure. Where
their argument is they are, their actual lineage goes back to Christ.
Yeah.
So where lots of the other groups are like, we don't think we can do that. Mm-hmm. There's no genealogy that goes back to Christ, so we'll do it based off of our priesthood lineage.
Right.
So
well, and Desert Silence says, pretty sure that only God can take away your priesthood. Again, we've had this conversation on some of our lives. That's a big debate for people. A lot of people believe that you can do, some people say absolutely not. Only God can take it away. Other people believe that they can take it away from somebody else. I've talked to Moroni Jessup about this quite a bit, the punk rock polygamist, and I've talked to him about this quite a bit because he's been involved in a couple of different groups. I've appreciated his perspective on this, that, yeah, he believes only God can take that away. But when you joined the Mormon church, the LDS church, weren't you were given the Melchizedek priesthood in the Mormon church too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So I still guess I have well, no, then I was told I couldn't perform or use.
No, you could. You just needed permission.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So when our son got sick, Corey gave our son a father's blessing when our last one got sick, and he was chastised by the leadership of our ward because he did it without permission. But we blessed him at home and gave him a blessing, a healing blessing, and then also, I think, didn't you give him his baby name?
Just father's name and blessing.
Yeah, name and blessing that day, and we did it in our home because we were too afraid to take him out into public. We didn't want him to go in public, and but he did it without the authorization of the bishop, and so he was chastised for that. Shu 0086 says, please don't be ashamed. We all have memories like this, and it's always drives people to learn more, and that's good. I've had so many moments where I was made to feel stupid, even with good education. Yeah, I didn't tell that story. This is the first time I've ever talked publicly about that story. Yeah. Did I told you that, didn't I? I might have. I don't even know if I've told you that story.
Sorry. What
about
story?
The Washington, D.C. thing.
No.
Because I felt so embarrassed and ashamed of it for so long. And I'm over it now. I feel like I don't have a lot of room for shame and guilt in my life anymore. They're very low vibrational energies, and I just don't want to pack them around. So now I'm willing to talk about things that I wouldn't normally have talked about. But yeah.
You know the difference now, though. So that's.
Do I? I don't know.
Because
both seem like. One's Sodom and Gomorrah, and the other one's what? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, because you've been to Washington, D.C.
I know. I've been there a couple times.
I've been to Washington State, so.
Yeah, I was the president of the Women's Council of Realtors here in Utah, and we went out to D.C. and met Mark Wahlberg there and did a bunch of stuff like that back in 2018. And we did a walk up to the White House, and I was like, okay, where is it? Where's the White House? And it was because I expected it to be this ginormous, massive building, and it's just this really small building. Yeah. It's not that big. But on TV, it looks like it's this huge palace almost, and it's just really not.
It's like our compound up in Compound House.
Right, so. Right. Thank you, Heather Parsons. She says, shame is not allowed here. Yeah, I've really worked through it. I really don't hold on to it anymore, which is why I can publicly talk about it. But for years, I didn't. And again, I don't even think I told Corey that story because I felt so embarrassed. And my sister, who made fun of me, she is about 3 years younger than me, and was always so much better than me and treated me that way my entire life. She was really kind of cruel. Okay, Shu 0086 says, Robin talked about threatening Cody with lawyering up, so I think she could be preparing to check her options. Maybe she'll stay if the prospects aren't good.
Sounds like she already.
It sounds like to us that she's already lawyered up.
She came in with her own paperwork. Cody wouldn't have been surprised if she hadn't got her own lawyer. The lawyer that her and Cody was using would have probably written that up. But
yeah,
when they're delivering it to Cody, or Mary and Janelle, that usually means it's coming right from her lawyer.
Somebody asked if we had talked to Amanda Ray. We have not. At first I wasn't sure who she was, because I feel like there's like 4 Amanda Rays on YouTube.
I knew some of the Kingstons growing up, but it would have been their mothers or. So, because they're probably my age. We were invited by my brothers and I were invited when we first moved down
by the
here.
Kingstons or by the Barlows?
By the Kingstons.
Okay.
To come out and go to a dance out there. And so one of the ladies we knew wanted to introduce us to some of them out there.
Okay.
And we went out to a dance, but I had already made the agreement with myself that I wasn't going to date any polygamous chicks. I just went out to be social. So.
Yeah. Murray 8692 says, I'm thinking those dead ceilings are messy with heaven pretty good. Can you imagine the shakeup? Yeah. Well, somebody did make a comment that in the LDS church they do
Yeah,
they do
ceilings. That's
ceilings.
just a one man and
Well, right. And so
one woman.
I have a sibling who is very, very, very into temple work in the LDS church right now. And anytime one of our siblings passes, then she ensures that that person is sealed correctly. And that's caused a lot of issues in our family. That's caused a lot of hurt with some of the people who are still living. But she felt like she went through the proper chain of approval, and she felt like she was in the right to do it, and so she did it. But it caused a lot of upset with some of the people still living. What?
Yeah.
So.
But her family knew her, felt like that they knew her wishes, and they didn't want her to,
Right.
she didn't want to.
And I didn't know it was that big of a deal, so I just started talking about it to a couple of them, and oh my gosh, that caused a lot. That was a lot of real upset and crying, and yeah. How important is tithing in the AUB? You can't do anything. You cannot pass go. You cannot collect your $200. You can't do anything unless you pay your tithing. It's that
You're not
important.
a worthy.
And yeah, and honestly, I feel like that's why I could not get a release from my ex-husband for as long as I did, because he was a very, very big tithe payer. And in the AUB, depends on how much money you have, you can buy your way into whatever you want to.
It is one of the Lord will not bless you, and will not bless your family, and add upon your kingdom if you're not paying a full tithe, and or fully into the United Order, whichever one you're
Right.
in. Then you will not be blessed. If you're in the United Order and you're not turning over 100% to the United Order and then getting your allocation back, then you are unworthy. So
Yeah.
you have to go to the United Order and say, hey, I'd like this, or I'd like that, or I need this, our family needs this or that. And then the United Order would approve whether you got that money back. If you just withheld that money and bought something for yourself, you were in trouble.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And honestly, I really do feel like that's why I was not granted a release for as long as I was, is because he was a very good tithe payer. I forced him to be. I was, when I lived it, I was very, very devout. I did everything I was supposed to be doing. And I made dang sure that he paid every dollar of tithing that he was supposed to. And then I think it came back and bit me in the butt when I was trying to get out. How closely geographically are the various polygamous groups? Kingston's are in Montana and Utah, like the AUB. I don't know where Kingston's are located at. I mean, here in Salt Lake, they're about 20 minutes from our home. A couple of months ago, my mom, my sister, and I, we went and did like a protest thing at one of the Kingston churches, and that was probably 25 minutes or so from, most of them are here in the Salt Lake Valley. Before the FLDS moved down to Colorado City, they were just up on the mountainside right here as well. So yeah, pretty close. The Dargers live 10 minutes from us, if that. Most of us are in the Salt Lake area.
Janet Bailey, only
What's the question?
the prophet's daughter has to pay 10%.
Okay, so they do not take, oh yeah, they take 10%. Corey's family apparently paid 20, which I did not realize for
Because
a long time.
we didn't have a prophet in the family, and so we had to pay more to make it into heaven for fire insurance. So
Oh, we're sorry you're missing your birds. Thanks for sticking out with us, though. We're going to probably wrap up in about 10, 15 minutes. We've been going for an hour.
how is
I
there
didn't think-
no laws against stealing the dead's afterlife? I don't know.
How is there no laws against stealing the dead's afterlife? Really, what laws could there be about it? Like,
They don't care. They moved on to, yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Once I die, I'm sure somebody and something will, I don't know, seal me or say that I was this or that, and I'm probably not going to listen to them. I'll be gone. So
Really,
I
my
don't
understanding
believe
is they
in
have to
afterlife.
get living relatives' permission. So in this case, in the case of my sister, she went to my other mother and got her permission to do it, and to do her temple baptisms and stuff like that. And I was speaking to my sister's husband, who was unaware of it, and her husband lost his mind and was extremely
so.
upset about it when I told him. I mean, I just assumed he knew because my sister had gone and done all of these ordinances for her in the Salt Lake Temple, and then when it got brought out in public, you know, when the whole thing got talked about openly, she had gotten my sister's mother's approval, and that's really all the church needed. And honestly, for me, because we've deconstructed so much, I'm like, okay, who cares? But it mattered to him, and he was extremely upset about it. And I felt sad because I felt like I invalidated his feelings when it first happened. I was like, who cares? And then he cried because my sister passed 13 years ago, I think. She passed, and it was devastating to all of us. She was my first sibling to pass, and we were all extremely devastated over it. And you know, him and his children are still trying to recover. So this was a blow to him, and I had to apologize. And every time I see him now, I hug him a ton because I feel so bad that I invalidated his feelings.
Yeah.
So.
And I have left. I'm no longer a part of it, but I know that back in the day, I don't know if they do it, anybody does it anymore, but my grandmother and my aunts used to put my name in prayer rolls to bring me to the light. And I appreciated that they prayed about me and thought about me. So that I was very appreciative, even though it didn't work, and I am a heathen. So but I appreciated the effort and the caring that they put into that. So that's just kind of how I am. If somebody wants to do this,
if it makes them feel better, then, you know, for me, I wouldn't hold any weight on it for me personally, but if it makes the living feel better, then I guess they can do whatever. And my understanding is my brother-in-law was going to go and have her stuff removed from the church's records. That's my understanding. But I don't think that, you know, my sister knew very clearly that my sister that passed did not want to be a member of the church or have anything to do with the church, and she still went ahead and did it anyways. But that, I mean, gosh, that's been a long time, 5 or 6 years, maybe longer than that. Have you heard of the RLDS? It was the first split that Joseph Smith's son, who ran that church, did after his dad died. Yes. And in fact, Corey started researching that just a little bit before we went on our trip. And then somebody made a comment in our comments, and she's emailed me, and I haven't been able to get back to all of my emails. I've been trying to catch. I'm so far behind on my notes to self emails, so I apologize. That is something that I'm working on. But the person who had commented, I said, please email me. Here's my email, and she did, and we haven't gotten to it yet. That's one thing we should work on tomorrow, is catching up on all of our emails.
Well, and I went on a trip back east when I was a teenager. And we went and visited Nauvoo and stuff like that, but we also went and saw stuff from the RDL, whatever it is, the reorganized church is what we were told it was back then, the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we knew that we were taught that, Emma and her son, the son of Joseph Smith, were the ones that did that. And reorganize that one, but they didn't believe in polygamy either. So
Carrie, she's on here. Thank you. She says, we are called the community of Christ now. It's me. Yeah, thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to catch up. We have day jobs. And so when we got back from this is the first time we've gone out of town in a hot minute. And we were trying to keep everything caught up, but you are my next email that I was going to get to. And Corey started researching that. We wanted to go dig deeper into that. But that happened while we were out of town, and I haven't been able to get back to it. So I did want to answer this question really quick. Did you finish that question? Sorry, I didn't. Sorry. Let's see. I wanted to get to this question. Yeah, thank you for clearing up the Amanda Ray thing. I think I'm going to reach out to her. We haven't yet. But yeah, have you seen an episode on Big Love where they change their wills? Is this a thing in polygamy where you would rather your sister wife raise your kids instead of your family with different beliefs? I think that's definitely an individual choice.
Yeah.
Because if my mom would have left me with her sister wives, I would have hated my mom for all eternity. So I don't know. What?
Yeah, I don't know if my parents did that. I mean, half my siblings, if a parent died, I guess, I don't know. I'd have to ask my mom about that. Because, yeah, I never thought of that as a legal thing. I didn't know that if my mother had passed on that my grandparents would have had a...
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
grandparents would have had first
I
dibs.
was never told that. We never assumed that at all. We assumed that Dad and the other wives would raise us. So we didn't. I don't know. I didn't.
I think your grandparents would have fought for
Yeah, they probably
custody
would have.
of you. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
And I think that's really individual. I think it depends on who your personal circumstances. That's not a teaching per se that the church teaches one way or the other. I'm sure men can go to the leadership for advice or counsel on this, like, hey, what would you do in this situation? And then they would advise them, hey, this is what you could do. Again, I don't know anyone who has divorced somebody legally and to marry someone else legally and adopt their children. Watching
could
that,
happen.
It could happen. I just don't know of anyone who's ever done that. That happened on the sister wives. Robin even said she didn't know of anybody who had that ever happen. And then she said that Cody's dad did divorce his mom but not to adopt children. They did it. My understanding was for insurance purposes. What do you?
Turn over. Well, I don't even know. Trying to remember the line. It's like I can't even remember the line. But now you do know. Now it has been in a movie that has actually happened.
I know.
Cody
Now I
has
can't
done
say it
for
because Robin and Cody have done it. But before Robin and Cody did it, I have never heard of anyone ever doing that. No one, and Robin even had said in one of the episodes, I saw her say it, I don't even know of anybody who has ever done that, except for maybe Cody's dad. And that, again, those are different circumstances because he legally married her for insurance purposes, was my understanding. So
I don't ever think that's been in a movie. Well, now it has.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember this.
Bad
line he did
Bosses or
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now it has. Now Cody and Robin has set the example.
Wait, what? After death, are they converting people into other faiths into Mormonism? Yeah, that. Again,
Not necessarily
they're
converting them.
they're just sealing
They're just
them to.
giving them the baptisms. There are certain ordinances that they feel like somebody needs to progress, and that's baptism and sealings. And so they do it for the dead, so that by chance, if there's a chance on the other side that the person is going, oh man, I wish I could have made it up to the next kingdom, but I didn't do this on earth. I didn't get baptized and I didn't get this, and all of a sudden, boom. Okay, it's been done for me now. Great. Now I can move up to the next level. So, and progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but
Yeah.
it's like playing a video game where you're stuck on level 1 all the time. And if somebody else helps you out, then you can go to
Somebody
level 2.
gives you, yeah. The
an
creator,
extra life.
Alyssa Grunfeld, I love her stuff, has talked about baptism for the dead. She said she started doing them as young as 12. Yeah, our daughter did them. I've actually gone and done them when I was a member of the LDS church. When I was an active member, I still am a member, but an active member. And then our daughter did them for a long time too. And what I have always, and to not demonize the Mormon church with this, but what I was always taught is that you do the work, and if the person on the other side accepts the work and chooses to take it, then they will. If not, then they have the option to say no. But that what is bound on earth will be bound in heaven. That's a scripture that, and so people believe that if you're not baptized here on earth, there's no redemption for your soul on the other side. And so really it's just a way to give people an opportunity to accept that ordinance if they want it.
And it finishes out the pedigree chart. So, or chart. I mean, there's spaces to all be filled in: baptismal day, marriage day, death day, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't like empty blanks.
Yeah. So it's not something that I feel like the Mormon church is doing as an aggressive, like,
Well,
but for some people, it feels very aggressively, it feels like an aggressive tactic for a lot of people. But in the Mormon church, it's not really taught that way. It's taught, do the work. If the person accepts it on the other side, great. If they don't, that's okay too. But at least we did the work, and they feel that it's their responsibility to make sure that that is done. So, yes, even people who were baptized under other faiths, because they weren't baptized in the right faith. You got to be baptized in the right faith. And every church thinks they are the right one. And who knows? Were living wills with custody arrangements even known? Maybe a question for the mom. No.
yeah, probably questions for mom. I don't
No,
ever remember hearing
they
about
were
them.
not known. I would not. I had never heard anything of that. My mom, I can almost guarantee you, my mom would say absolutely not.
That, because I think living wills, you have to register them with a lawyer or the government or something like that. And so most of AUB members, my mother kept diaries, and so she might have written something down in a diary to that effect. But yeah, as far as I know, no, they didn't fill out any extra government documents that they didn't need. So
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to answer this question really quick, and then I'm going to get to the shoe 006. In the FLDS, I know of men who have divorced their first wife to be able to marry another wife from Canada to help her immigrate to the USA. I know a lot of people like that as well. My own brother has done that. My ex-husband, his father was from Mexico. I know that has happened a lot. I know of a lot of circumstances like that. I just don't know somebody who's divorced a woman and married another woman to adopt her children. That's the only thing I don't know of. But yes, for citizenship, yes, I do know of that. What do you guys think would have happened if your mothers had died? I know this is morbid, but just wondering about custody in the AUB. Would your father have just decided where you go? Yep. And that has happened.
yeah,
I've seen that, and children have been split up. Let's say the woman had 6 children when she died. 3 would go to this wife, 3 would go to this wife, because that's a lot for one woman to take on. And that's all at the discretion of the father.
and if I remember, yeah, we had a mother die in our family, and yeah, still had teenage children, and another mother took over raising those,
Yeah.
helping raise those children.
Yeah.
So because I don't think,
Because your sister was 9 when her mom died.
I think so.
Yeah.
So, and so yeah, they did, but yeah, they were still part of the family. Just another mother stepped in as trying to take care of them. And so dad just kind of, I guess, I don't even know how they decided that, but yeah, they didn't have any other family.
Well, you were pretty older
go.
when she died, weren't you?
I
Like
was.
19 or 20?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I was 19.
Yeah. And then some of the other mothers stepped in to take care of the underage children. So that does happen a lot. I could see where that could present a problem if the father's not on the birth certificate. And
Yeah.
my father's been on all of his children's birth certificates that I'm aware of, but I know some fathers aren't. And so I could see that presenting itself as a problem if that's the case. Because I know if your mom would have died, your grandparents would have absolutely pursued custody of you guys.
Probably.
I don't think my
No, I
grandparents
mean,
would
now
have.
that I think of it, yeah, they probably would have, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my grandparents would not have done that, nor would any of my aunts or uncles from my mother's side. And then none of them would have pursued anything like that. So I think we would have just been left at the device of our dad and where he thought that they yeah, to collect Social Security, do they ever divorce and remarry each wife so they get some Social Security? I'm not sure about that one. I haven't heard that. I think that's. I mean, if that happens, it's not like a common thing. So it'd be 1 or 2 examples here and there, but it wouldn't be like a very common thing. let's see, let's answer this one. If someone in the AUB marries a person with a different religion, is that person required to convert to the AUB? Well, it depends. If they want to be an active member of the AUB, then yes, they would have to convert. If they don't really care and they're just like, you know, if one of us got divorced and we just wanted to go marry somebody else. So it really depends on what your intent is. If your intent is to stay as an active person and to have multiple wives, both people would have to convert at that point. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Well, I mean, yes, let's say you came, the other, usually what it would be is the man wanting to, is converted, and the woman doesn't want to live that way. Could he get another wife
Without her consent?
Her consent, maybe.
Individualized
Probably.
basis?
Depends.
I mean, because we all know Joseph Smith did that.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's a good one. Yes, he could get another wife, but usually that first wife would eventually be leaving. So
yeah,
there's been families that have come in, they're interested in it, but the minute their husband gets a second wife, the first wife is like, all right, I wasn't that committed, and they're gone.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I would be very surprised if that happened.
Or we didn't agree to this when we were coming in type thing. So
yeah. All right. Yeah. Carly says, yay, I jumped off to work out, came back, and you're still live. We're actually just about to wrap up. So
husband dies, would his brother?
Okay. If a husband dies, would his brothers marry his wives? Yes.
Yes and no.
So my ex-husband was requiring me to marry one of his brothers if he were to pass. And for a couple years, which one of my brothers would you marry? And he hounded me forever. And I'm like, I'm not marrying any of your brothers if you die. Yes, you are. Because I require this of you with my children. I want my children to be raised in this family. And so he would ask me for years, and I finally tell him, okay, fine, I'd marry this brother. And then he was a jerk to that brother forever because he felt threatened by that brother. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to marry that brother. I'm just trying to give you a name to shut you up. And so, yes, that is very much a teaching that a woman would marry. And we do know people who have done that. Yeah. And they've been miserable and not very happy most of the time. I know of one situation where she could possibly have been happy, but for the most part, that is something that they do ask. And I think I remember as a child hearing my dad and his brothers talk about that. And so I do believe that was a discussion between my father and his brothers as well. What were you going to say?
It'd have to be a worthy brother within. So if my brother, who's part of the AUB, died, his wives wouldn't come to us heathen brothers. So
yeah, exactly. It'd have to be somebody who was a worthy priesthood holder, active in the AUB.
There you go.
It wouldn't just be like, oh, hey, let's just go marry one brother that's just taken off and isn't a part of anything.
And within our family, that would never happen. So
yeah. Oh, great live. Thank you both. Digging the grandpa hoodie, Corey. Thank you. Yeah, we had these hoodies made. I have a grandma one with a little Minnie Mouse on it. We had them made for our Disney trip with our grandbabies, and they were amazing on Etsy for like $25. They were so cheap, and I love them. And we used them so much while we were in Disney because it was really warm during the day. But
it's a little chilly today, so she's got sweat, and so I just went in and put.
Yeah, I'm in sweats. And slippers.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna go put on a hoodie.
Yeah, not the nefarious one. I know. We need to get us one of those. We need to order one right now. And we have a couple more that we're making for the adulteress. And we're going to make one that says release, reuse, and release, recycle, and reuse. We're going to make one of those because I think that's hilarious. But yeah, all right. I think we're going to wrap up. I am working on trying to get some other people to come onto our channels. I think we're going to start doing a little bit more interviewing people. But we definitely want to up our camera game and Cody's brothers.
Cody's brothers must be sweating over who'd be stuck with Robin if Cody died. That is genius.
Yeah. Well, he does have some active brothers in the AUB still.
Does he?
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that's funny because I had to, if you died, I would not marry any of your brothers. I love them all dearly. My ex-husband's brothers, I didn't care for most of them, but I love your brothers dearly. I would not marry any of them.
Yeah, most of them are all younger than me.
Yeah. Well, they're all taller than you too. You are the runt. So
you'd be a creepy old lady.
I know. I know you are the oldest. So I'd be like this cougar, this old lady stalking out these young guys. So, but thank you guys. Don't forget, we are doing our book club on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. or 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are doing the Sound of Gravel right now. So if you decide you want to do that, we have been tagging it in all of our videos. It does give us a small commission. We are going to be doing some pretty good big things with Holding Out Help here coming up pretty soon. They're having their biggest fundraiser in March. They're having their biggest fundraiser of the year coming up. And so we really, if you see in our Instagram, I've been trying to tag, we will be going to that. We will be attending. So yeah, it's going to be Corey. We were hoping to get Corey up on stage to talk, but now it looks like
you and a mouse in your pocket. We're hoping that.
Not you. So yeah, it looks like right now we're in the works to see if we'll be talking there. So I'm excited for that. And then and that's going to be on March 13th. We tag their website in every single one of our videos. So if you feel like you can donate to them, again, they always need financial resources. They've helped over 4,000 people leave polygamy since they opened their doors. And of course, finances is always what they need. So yeah, Sound of Gravel is intense, but so good. It was a little bit slow at beginning. I won't lie. I was like, oh gosh, am I going to be able to get through this? But as we wrapped up the first section of it, it was great. We're going to be having the author on our channel at one of our lives. I'm not sure which one, maybe multiple if she agrees to do multiple ones. I don't know. But we'll be talking to her as well. So if you want to join us on Tuesdays, and then, we've got a bunch of exciting content that we're trying to get out to you guys before we start doing Big Love. But I want to definitely get that started.
That one I would enjoy. Big Love is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I like that one. Release, recycled, and resealed.
Oh, instead of reuse. Yeah. That's a great one. Yeah, we should do that.
Gotta reseal.
I gotta write it down because I always forget. Yeah.
Because if you just reuse them, it's not really. You have to reseal them to wrap them into that covenant and agreement. So. Yeah.
Do you have an Amazon commission link or just Barnes and Noble? I don't know what we have, to be honest. It just when we upload the video, it just lets us tag.
I should look on the Amazon one. I think I did a Barnes Noble one.
This is how new we are. We don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll try to figure that out. But we appreciate anyone who's bought it through the link. We're actually going to just donate all of that back to Holding Out Help. So anytime you purchase something like that, like the book through us, we'll donate that back to Holding Out Help. So yeah, we'll check into the Amazon. We don't know. It's just when we upload the video, it just asks us if we want to tag a product. We say yes, and then that product pops up, and that's where I think it's at Barnes & Noble, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everyone have a wonderful night. Thank you guys all for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And let us know. Keep emailing, or you can DM me some of or comment, and I've been screenshotting the comments to try to answer them. I've been so slow about emails. I apologize. I'm working on getting better at that. But thank you guys. Have a great night. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Guys.